There was a rich man who decided to build a clock tower. He wanted to put a clock on top of it that would strike every hour to remind him that time was passing. And so he hired the best engineers and the best craftsmen to build this clock tower. And when it was finished, the clock was placed on top of the tower, and it struck 1 o'clock as the rich man was arriving home from work. And he looked up at the clock, and he thought to himself, "That is the sound of freedom. That is the sound of wealth. That is the sound of power. That is the sound of success." And he went inside his house, and he lived happily ever after. Now, for the next 10 years, this clock struck every hour, reminding the rich man that time was passing, but also reminding him of his success, reminding him of his power, wealth, and freedom. Then one day the rich man died, and his son inherited the house. And one day the son was looking up at the clock, and he thought to himself, "That is the sound of oppression. That is the sound of slavery. That is the sound of poverty. That is the sound of failure." And he went inside his house, and he lived a miserable life. And so time passed, and the son also died, and his son inherited the house. And one day the young boy was playing near the clock tower, and he heard the clock strike, and he looked up and he thought to himself, "What is this stupid sound? Why doesn't this clock shut up?" And he started throwing stones at the clock to see if he could break it. And as he was throwing the stones, one of the stones hit the glass, and the rich man's son looked out the window and he saw this young boy trying to destroy his property. And so he went outside, grabbed the boy by his shirt, and he said, "Why are you trying to destroy my clock?" The boy said, "What is this stupid sound? Why doesn't it shut up?" And the rich man's son said, "This is the sound of wealth. This is the sound of power. This is the sound of success." And he took the boy home, and he raised him to value time. And so when the rich man's son grew up and he became a successful businessman, he told this story to his son, and he said, "Always value your time, because time is more precious than anything else in this world. Because if you waste your time, you can never get it back. You only have 24 hours in a day, just like I did when I was alive. So make sure you spend your time wisely."